geez, Mike, how long ago? Like 15, 20 years?
Over 20.
So Timevalve started up in Connecticut, and it was owned by a gentleman
David Opperman.
Okay, and I met David. He was advertising that he made exhausts, and Timevalve was known at that time for Mercedes.
Yes, sir.
So everybody did Mercedes exhausts, and they were starting to do copies of Ferrari exhaust. So we took the car up there, and you were like the kid working at the shop.
Yes, sir. 20 years old. Or I was probably 24.
You really did, like 24 working
yes,
for.
Sir.
So then let's see. So then David was going to retire or close up the business, and then you jumped on it and bought the business, right?
Yep. That was long story. Like I moved to Florida in 2006. He offered, well, actually he needed my help. He offered me to pay for me to fly back and forth just for a month. And then it went on for 2 months and 3 months. And then, gosh, it went on for almost 2 years. And
back and
forth, flying up, working 3 days, flying back to Florida. Golly, and then he eventually was just going to close up the business. And I gave him what he was going to get best day of auction for the tools. And literally he gave me about a week's notice to empty the buildings out.
God.
And here I am, I
so you got all the jigs, because that was the big thing, is the jigs and all that other stuff. Because each exhaust that you have, they're all,
Yeah, they're all jig built, where we clamp them in, and you can make an exact copy of what you're copying. But so, like on the Ferrari, some vary.
Well, I think, do you see a difference between the Mercedes exhausts and the Ferrari exhaust? Because Ferrari exhausts for us all of them are custom, but because the Germans are they more precise? Like, can you actually weld a German exhaust together?
They are dead on over and over.
Really? So you can just keep making them and do it all over.
Yeah, and if there's something wrong, something's been changed in the car, like a manifold.
See, I've always suspected.
Those. Yeah, fast to do. Ferraris take about a week to assemble. An exhaust.
So let's walk over the ones that I'm doing, because we'll talk about the ones that I'm ordering. I came down; they're almost ready to go, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, a little bit more welding.
Let's see.
Finish assembling the tips.
So this one is for a Lusso that I'm working on. The surface rust is just normal stuff, because what happens with, of course, Florida.
You can see what side was facing down.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. It's just
that way
rust like that. But anyway, so the difference you can see is what I've talked about before is these are the Abarth style exhausts. These, it's almost like it takes everybody all different people to do it. I mean, you're assembling, but then the shells are made special. And then they have a company that makes them that does these old dimples and everything. And this is the Abarth exhaust shape. They're smaller. The cans are smaller than what you would see on the Anses. And it's been a learning process. I mean, originally when you guys first started, you were copying what people were giving you, and you were actually copying the ANSA.
Yeah, and I have a set actually of ANSA.
Original ANSAs, right?
Well, what copies? They're in stainless, but these were actually.
Yeah, so this is what you used to. Well, you still sell them, right?
We still sell them. It's up to really the customer. Some people just
want the ANSA. So what happens is, and if I can explain, is that the ANSAs were the factory replacement, and then when they were rusting off, and maybe this is going back 20 years ago, people would just have the ANSAs on there. Says, oh, we want to make a copy. Timevalve makes the stainless steel one. So they said, instead of making these ANSAs or the exhaust that rotted off of my car in mild steel, Timevalve is making them in stainless. So everybody started making these, and I think we also honestly didn't really do a lot of research to realize that these were the steel ones were replacing what this was. Then when you were asked to copy them, you're just copying what they asked you to copy.
Yeah, or sent off the car.
Basically, for all intents and purposes, copying the wrong ones. So then, as we found and started to do more research through the last, let's say 10 years, we said, okay, this is actually what was the original cans. I mean, this is the shape, and you can really see the difference between the two. This is what was on the 250s. And so through the course of the last 10 years, 8 years or whatever, everybody working together and trying to find original ones and perfect. We're kind of at a point where it's like, okay, we found original cars that have this.
Yep.
So so you guys are doing this, and that's what you got. Do you have any original ones that people have
This is the Series 1, though, that has the short muffler.
Oh, yeah, okay, so let's take a look at this.
That part would be a Series 2.
But like we said, what's neat is so someone sent you this one.
Yeah, this, golly, Wide World of Cars, I believe,
yeah.
in New York a long
so
time
you
ago.
can see that this is the shape, and so you took it apart.
Yeah,
and,
we cut them open so we can
see
copy them
what's
exactly
inside.
what they did.
Oh, that's neat. So there's a Y in there. Is that what how
yes,
they did
sir.
it?
That's what they did.
Okay, so this is the inlet from the header.
The inlet, and
then goes into here, and then it was perforated, but it's together in one piece, and then Y's out, and then probably something.
This one's just straight through. Yep.
Okay, and then we're perforated inside here. Do you remember?
Oh yes,
these are all perforated like that.
Same perforation. I didn't bother cutting it because you can see the light.
Sure.
And I've cut them so many that
oh yeah, you know.
I
mean, you know what they are, right?
It was mostly the Y concerned me. I wanted to get it exact because we've messed around with all different kind of shapes and getting it right, and we finally got it to a nice merge actually, a nicer merge than this.
Okay, but you could see. So this is what's neat. It's always great to see the original can and say, okay, even though this is the short can for an earlier car, this shape is what we're trying to do, and we know on a GTE or 250 Lusos and 250 GTEs, they take basically the same size.
Yes, sir.
You know, the two long.
I believe the 250 had the series 1 and 2.
So this is a series 1.
Series 1.
It's had the short one.
Yep, had the short one and the long one.
Okay, and we know that that's GTE or for series 1 or like a Pininfarina coupe or something like that. Which
I think it was a PF coupe.
Okay, yeah.
I believe.
So you see, so here's the other thing that we deal with all the time. Mike is mufflers.
Yeah, I replicate
like
whatever I can. I'm not a knowledgeable.
So a lot of times, and I've done this with other vendors, which is they see and they know this really well, but we have to stay in communication because when I say, I look at different Ferraris, so there's 250 PF coupe, there's a Series 1 PF coupe, there's a Series 2 PF coupe, there's a 61 GTE Series 1, then there's Series 2, then there's Series 3, and you may not know the exact differences. So what a lot of times we do is we will photograph them and make sure that these are the two long ones, or this is the one that has the short one. Yeah. Otherwise, you're only doing what they're telling you to do.
Yeah, and it's nice. And a lot of times they've been changed, and but I like to get it correct. But I'm not an expert on which car had what. But I can replicate nearly
whatever
anything.
you want. And sometimes, like you said, was the customers sometimes order it and you're kind of not sure, but whatever the customer wants. Right?
Yeah, sometimes they're right when I know they're wrong. Not to say, but it just some people.
But they want what they
it's
want.
never been touched, and I just ask them what they want, and I will build it that way.
Right. You're right. No, so that's great. So on my system here, it's getting real close. We got a couple more things that need to go, but otherwise, it's almost there. What I also want to show everybody was the jigs, so we have an idea of what's going on as far as how to do that.
Go next door.
So in here, you got all these jigs. Now, what are these two?
These are mostly all Mercedes.
Okay.
The most popular, closest to the door. So I carry those every day. The Ferraris are farther and few in between, so they kind of crane back here. But gosh, we got all kinds of parts. This was actually the part we just pulled down.
Oh yeah.
These were the tips that came along with it. Yeah, but I don't know why it says Series 2, which makes no sense because I know those are Series 1 mufflers.
Okay.
But
this is that cut here. So the big difference is A-bar. And this maybe could go on Series 2. Because what's the difference? It's Series 1 to Series 2?
I believe, the shorter muffler on the front doubles.
But the rear section had was different?
I believe there wasn't a rear muffler on the Series 1.
Because on the Series 2, this looks very similar to a Series 2 rear section. I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I could check with the fixtures. They look like bolts of rotten metal, but they work.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Here is I might be wrong.
No, it's okay.
This is the match to, this is a Series 2. I'll set this on the table.
Yeah.
This and this
went
together. Yeah, I'm a little crammed, but.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so this is familiar to Series. So
there would be one more resonator in here.
Yeah. Gotcha. So the big difference is for show guys is that the A-bar has the slash cut. It's just like a cut here or a weld, and then has the chrome sleeve.
The sleeves, yeah.
Right. So then you were showing me before.
I have a Sorretto one if you want to see it.
Yeah, let's take a look at that real quick because it's great to see them side by side.
It's a little beat up, but
it's enough there.
Sometimes 80 years old.
So Sorretto, this would be for 330s. I believe is when they started. Do you know which one this one came off of, or?
Oh gosh, no, I believe it was on. Somebody had just welded the tips onto a 250.
Okay.
Because I can tell from the muffler, because the 330 was having some answer parts, but they had these.
Oh, those, yeah, the resonators.
Those
kind of.
I don't have the tips to go along. These were for a customer that wanted them back.
Okay. But you see, that's almost like that's an answer.
Yeah, this is definitely an answer.
Yeah.
But the customer argued that it was the original.
Right. Well, so here's the thing. So Soretto is another exhaust company. So for Vintage Ferrari, they had Abarth, which we know is for the 250s. We know that they started to switch over in the 330s. They had Sorettos, and there was the other one. Spacem was another company that made for GTCs, I believe.
So that one I'm not familiar with.
And I haven't seen a Spacem, so I don't know exactly what, but the names that I get and hear. But
here's a sheet. This was 275.
that's okay.
Now these,
oh wow, yeah,
I believe to be like a Soretto muffler. Now there's no beads in it, which is very strange.
Okay, yeah, because so this says 275 GTS. Yeah, so it has this huge long. I remember doing one of these before. They're just real long. But yeah, this, because why would they wouldn't change? Soretto wouldn't. I mean, like they wouldn't change. This must be another company.
Yeah,
that
the
made
shape's
these.
near identical, no beads, and the crazy thing on this car that actually was brought to us in Plainfield many years ago. Oh my goodness! Thank heavens I don't use these a lot. This was the other side on the car, which had beads in it.
Oh yeah.
I can pull it out, which it was definitely missing. But the shape really resembles
like a
A-bar shape, but it has beads going the opposite way, like answer. So
wow, yeah, it's really hard to know.
It can be confusing on this
Very
one.
confusing.
When I go to build it, I ask them, and you can tell this shape is much bigger than that whole muffler.
Yeah.
If you look at the ends, it is it's fatter, wider.
And then you look at this one and
put that over.
Yeah, you lay them right next to each other. And this came off the same
exact car.
Yeah, so something was replaced. Yeah, you can see almost it's a quarter inch height difference because this is almost flush on the well.
Yep, it's wider.
And there's a quarter inch addition. So who knows what happens. This almost looks like an ANSA bead.
But the shape's definitely
the shape is definitely early. Yeah, ANSA's like an oval.
Rounded,
you can see this is a really easy way to look because you see the ANSAs are like that. So, I mean, I think that what the solution is, as we were talking, and I still do it with you, is that if I get a muffler and I have something original, or if I have a particular car that I have an original exhaust, that I can try to take pictures and then send it to you and say, this is what I want. Are you going to be 100% correct? Who knows? But you have the tooling to do whatever they want to do.
Yes, sir.
Like in other words, if somebody says, I want this Abarth looking muffler can and this shape, you can build that.
We just build that because the fixture never changes.
Right.
It's just more or less just sitting the muffler.
So it's a custom,
And then once we bend these, they'll get clamped in angles. I'll try to make them more symmetrical. Like these are really nice, but some of them you get a really wonky. That one's not too bad, but I would try my best to make it.
This crease in this pipe, was that original? Did they have that type of creasing when they ended up doing it?
Well, I can tell it's never been molested or changed.
Right. So it's very well possible that that's how the pipe bent. Like that's how they did it, end up creasing it when they bent it.
And again, this is a mystery company, so.
Oh yeah, this is a mystery. That's mystery. Right. So it could have just been another company that did it. Because usually what we see is I don't see the, it's a pretty good bend.
I'll leave these up here.
But no, so my point is, it's like these are really custom exhausts for anybody. You can't just call you up and say, make me this, and expect it to go all in.
Then we have the old Dinos. I really enjoy building those.
Okay, yeah.
And I perfected them.
So these are Dino Euro or US?
Do you have all three versions. There was 5 versions on that.
Okay.
Gosh, this is the US version. One giveaway is this flange here. On the US it was angled, and all the Euros I noticed were
flat. Square to the muffler.
Then there's like an E, an M, and an L version.
Okay.
Which you can see one has no chamfer, one has a chamfer. Again, it's just the very
Right.
For a few years they did that, they did this, and then...
And now you're making these in stainless, or you're making them mild steel?
Whatever the customer wants, but most of them ask for stainless.
Yeah.
And they're all extremely happy. Like they said, my sound is back, and they really like it. And I perfected to make them near identical. David did a good job, but the only thing I cannot get is like the seam right on the edge, but I can get it, you know, rounded up to the edge. It's almost a near identical part.
Yeah.
And again, we cut them open.
Sure.
This is an old thermal reactor. Gosh, that thing's, that is what's inside of those. If you guys wonder why they're 100 pounds.
Oh my God, look at all that.
Those are not my favorite to build.
Wow.
And this is a Euro version of that. Which you know how it's cut at a triangle?
Okay.
Very strange. I built them for a guy in South Florida company, and he bought many of them.
And look, so you have all this stuff for your...
Yeah, this is like an ANSA. You can tell it's really just plain and muffler. Then of course,
and you have
all the Daytonas. This is a GTC. This is a Euro version, and then there's another Euro version back there. They're all crammed in. Like, so
but you know, the thing is that you have to hold on to them.
Yeah, and I tried to keep them outside, and they go to crap, or people scrap them on me. I've had some things scrapped, and I've learned my lesson there.
So it almost looks like you have a whole half of this warehouse is Ferrari exhaust, and then the other half is
yeah. Like I said, because I use these not as much, so I kind of stick them in the back, and
right.
Back door, you know.
But you can take this and you have a jig that you would put on the bench, and then you could actually lay that original exhaust on there and see if it actually lines up, right?
Yeah, yes sir.
That's what you're
try to find an easy one that I can pull out.
Well, you can see here, like this one, you have a jig here that a muffler is sitting in, so you can see how everything lines up. Right,
yes, that's an old Maserati Mexico.
Oh, really?
I guess it's a very rare car.
Yeah, sure.
I have no idea what it is. Customer sent it. We replicated it.
Yeah, so you get a pretty good idea. You have the jig, it's all welded up in angle iron, and then what you do is all this lays in here. So if you had to check, you have an original one. After you lay it out on your bench, then you
check it.
You can check it and put the other one in there and see if it lines up, and then start putting the whole thing together.
Yep, and then we'll locate hangers, which on most Ferraris are never in the right spot, so we'll do them loose, but that's how I get. If you buy one pre-welded, I mean, I can only go by what was sent from the previous guy's car.
Right. What I usually do, and a lot of us who do this from shops, is that, and this is why the exhausts, they can get expensive because it's just by the hour, but that's just the way it is. It's a handmade car. Is that I'll have Mike make these cans and then send them to me with the flanges tap welded, not really in, so that way I can move them up and down a little bit. And then that way also the back here, sometimes like you were saying, like they won't
you'll
really
get the best
line up.
fit. You know, the best
and then once
fit.
everything's kind of bolted in place, then we tack it again, take it off, weld it in, and then put it back on and hang it. And that's the best way to do it. I'm amazed if somebody orders one, all welded together, because then it's just...
I worry shipping them, I worry about it because if there's an issue, then it comes back, onto me, which...
Right. And then it's shipped, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna ship it back? You can't ship it back, you know? Yeah, so that's really what it is. That's what it's about. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, nice to see you, Tom.
It's good to see you too. We'll keep buying stuff from to put on all the next Ferrari we get. So thanks for giving me some time.
Yes, sir.
Great, thanks.